Dr. Swanson, consumers tell us that they're not sure there's enough federal oversight of livestock at meat plants. You're an animal welfare expert. What can you tell us about how USDA oversees livestock?
Well, I can tell you that based on the legislation that was passed back in 1978 called the Humane Slaughter of Livestock Act, it was groundbreaking that we needed to have rules and legislation in place with regard to securing that livestock are rendered unconscious prior to slaughter. And since that time forward, we've made many improvements. We've got inspectors that are trained and have different audit points and so on that they must take while they're actually observing the slaughter and stunning of livestock so that we can assure the public that those animals, in fact, are rendered unconscious before slaughter.
So inspectors are on site at plants checking this
Yes,
all the time?
they are on site at the plant. It's required by federal law that they be there during the slaughter of animals.
Now, is there a benefit to humane handling of livestock from an economic perspective?
Absolutely. First of all, the care of those animals is very important with regard to determining the quality of the product that you're going to get. Meaning all the way from the producer to the plant, we have to be very careful in how we manage and we handle those animals through the loading process onto the trucks that will transport them to the plant, the loading of those animals, and then ultimately how they're handled through that plant up to the time that they're stunned. And what we found based on the research that we've seen is that if these animals experience a lot of stress, upset, or are mishandled or abused during this process, that in fact you will see that expressed in the quality of meat that we have. For example, with beef cattle, we know that stressed beef cattle prior to slaughter will give us a darker colored, drier, firmer meat than animals that have been handled properly.
So there's an economic benefit to handling animals humanely?
Absolutely. There's a lot of incentives for producers, for transporters, and for plant handlers to take care of those livestock all the way through the system.
So Dr. Swanson, sometimes consumers see an undercover video shot in the plant that can be very unsettling, and it can leave the impression that this is how all livestock are handled nationwide. Can you shed some light on this?
Yes, I think it's unfortunate when we have this sort of video that is shot within in a plant. We capture behavior that may be not in concert with what we expect, both legally and also professionally. However, we do have a framework in place legally to be able to handle those types of incidences. It should be reported immediately. And then USDA, other officials would be enacted to investigate and properly address those issues for the plant.